John Dewey's growth concept in the classroom. John Dewey remains a pivotal scholar in the history of educational philosophies. Even in the 19th century, he innovated uncommon approaches to solve persistent problems, and his theories still have significance for contemporary educational practices. 1. Inquiry-based educational method. Academics claim that the most significant legacy of Dewey for educators is the theory of inquiry. Inquiry-based educational method is emphasized as one of the contemporary pedagogies. It is a pedagogic technique that incorporates subject matter and innovative teaching practices within a learning environment that fosters students' natural curiosities. For example, inquiry is a process used in problem solving. 2. Student-centered pedagogies. The current reforms of higher education teaching, which is fixated on switching from traditional lecture-style teaching to student-centered pedagogical strategies, can be attributed to the influence of Dewey's learning theory. Student-centered instruction requires students to take an active role in the learning process rather than being passive recipients of knowledge from the teacher. 3. Problem-based learning. Student-centered pedagogies like problem-based learning is an intellectual descendant of Dewey's project-based pedagogy, and it has accounted for enhanced performance in science disciplines, critical thinking, and positive dispositions and attitude about learning. For example, problem-based learning is used by educators in medicine today. 4. Competencies development. Critical thinking, intellectual engagement, creativity and innovation, and moral judgments are critical elements of Dewey's concepts. They are still important in the 21st century educational system because these are competencies that enable people to solve problems, arbitrate, and change in a volatile and complex world. 5. Education as occupation. Dewey's theory of education as occupations brought a different approach of conceptualizing the framework of schools and the nature of learning, which is still applicable in today's classroom. It influenced the designing of the learning spaces where immaturity and plasticity are resources, and where continuity of experience and inclusivity boost learning. For example, Montessori classroom, play-based learning, and lab theories. 6. Democracy and education. Dewey's vision of democracy and education entails the concept of equality and freedom, which involves giving power to the students in selecting and accomplishing life projects. It also includes the concept of individuality, which is paying attention to the different situations of students entering the educational system. 7. Service learning. Dewey is a point of reference for some current educational practices such as community engagement and service learning. These practices are aligned with Dewey's belief of equality, porous boundaries, moral good, and benefits for all citizens. The pragmatic opportunities from service learning makes it a pedagogy that is still useful in today's higher education because it allows students to learn actively by participating in organized service activities and generate students' growth by developing in them skills required for successful integration into the society. In sum, education is the catalyst for continuous growth.